The registration of doctors and getting doctors who can work in the state is an incredibly complicated process. So if we need doctors to be able to come in and work in this state, it takes too long, right? And so if there's a shortage, and there is a shortage of doctors up north, we need to have better access and make it so that it's a more transparent process. Different types of education work for different types of students, and the money that we actually use to fund education needs to be distributed in a way that best serves the needs of educating our young, rather than going out and saying we need to build and maintain infrastructure for the sake of infrastructure. I also think that the cost of the education in the university system is much too high. I think that we should actually have a program that allows adults to go out and take tests to actually get credit towards a college degree with no more than the cost of taking those tests, and so we can have metrics that actually evaluate whether or not someone is competent, and so that we can reduce the cost to get a degree and stop having enormous student loan debt, which is killing our young people and young families. If you don't pay your taxes, someone shows up with a gun, ultimately to take your property. So taxation is not voluntary. Okay? So what we have to do when we actually collect taxes is make sure that when we're actually extracting tax money from people, we are doing what's in their best interest and never wasting a nickel of it. Okay? It is the responsibility of those who collect and spend taxes to do it in a way that benefits the community and returns as much money as they can to offset taxpayer costs. You get a check and you think, you get your first check and you work for 20 hours. So you're going and they hand you your check and you're waiting for 8 times 2, 8 and 2 is 16, you learned that in school, times 10, that's 160 bucks. So you take your check for $160, you go to deposit at the bank, you hand it to them without looking at it, and they say, oh, your deposit's worth about $118. And you go, what happened to the rest of my money? Well, it got stolen, okay? Stolen by what? Well, stolen by a set of people who said, well, we're going to take some of that money that you made and we're going to do things with it, but you don't even know what that is. Well, some of it is theoretically deposited into an account for you for Social Security to take care of you when you're older. Well, but if you look at the history of Social Security, what you'll find is that when the government needs a little extra money, they just borrow some from Social Security and say, well, we'll pay it back. But you paid that in, right? So it's a savings account for you that you don't actually have access to or control. And then you look at Medicare and FICA, and the more you look, the more little line items there are for these things called taxes. What that means is that whenever we take money in taxes, we need to get equal value for it, or that money has been taken improperly. So we need to protect and respect taxpayers' payment, that they're getting all of their value all the time. I'm not saying we shouldn't take taxes. I think we should. But we should respect every single dollar that we take as the assets of the people, only to be used for their benefit and no more. Now, do you know that you can hold enough thorium in your hand to power all of your needs for the rest of your life? And thorium is a common element, and there is so much of it that in the next 1,000 years we would never run out of it. It is so powerful we could actually use it for medicine, we could use it for energy, we could use it for water purification. It would solve all kinds of problems, but we lack the regulatory environment in which we can approve the use of thorium. Please, #1 expert on thorium power actually is at Dartmouth College right here in the state of New Hampshire. He's traveling all over the world telling other countries how they can go out and innovate in new power plants, but we can't consider it at home because we don't have the regulatory framework to do it. And it's time to stop being scared and start getting educated. child that she's carrying is not sustainable on their own, then she has a choice to make. I consider that choice on a calendar to be 24 weeks. But I oppose late-term abortion and what's called a 24-hour look-back. A 24-hour look-back, or the ability to abort a child after it's born within the first 24 hours, is murder. It would be 100% pro-choice if the pro-choice side didn't advocate for things like murder. Okay? Too many rules. Do you know that on average, you, when you're an adult, will commit 3 felonies a day that you don't even know about? Because there are so many rules and laws just in the state of New Hampshire. Forget federal. There are 12,000 pages of laws and regulations in the state. Do you know anyone who's read them all?
No.
Okay. So, how are you going to know if you committed a crime if you don't even know what they are?
Oh, shit.
In the UK, they used to have this thing called the common law. Do you know what the common law was?
No.
It was this idea they went out and asked all the different communities what were the common things for which the law should be so that everyone would know. And then you have a basis by which everyone understands. And there's a common thread, which is if we respect each other, we treat each other in a way that is not harmful and non-threatening, then that should be good behavior. And people should understand what the law is most likely to be in the event they don't know it. We need to get back to that. I want to go to Concord to remove regulation, to remove restrictions that are unnecessary, and let the people in the free market decide what is it that makes New Hampshire great again. We have the most amazing license plate in the country. It says live free or die. Live free or die is this idea that government shouldn't be restricting us. Let's get back to that. I'm George Lambert, and I'm running for Senate so that there's less government between you and your daily life. Hi, my name is George Lambert, and if I said it, I approve this message.
Yo, my name is George Jefferson, the man Maleficent. You don't know who you're messing with, I ran for president. Cause our country's in a deficit. My only testament is that we keep it so surreal. I kill myself to resurrect. I'll kill myself to resurrect. You know she know I'm the